WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. I have no idea how rare and exotic the 100 proof series is from Signatory Vintage at the moment, but I have the number 16 already. This is a Secret Speyside, distilled 2010, bottled on the 2nd of April 2024. We have a mixture of first fill Oloroso sherry, butts, and bourbon hogsheads. So if we go over here to our Secret Orkney, exactly the same mixture, almost the same color as well. Now, a Secret Orkney is going to be Highland Park. There's basically no, or very, very little, independently bottled Scapa. But there is a whole lot of independently bottled Highland Park. Now, Signature Vintage has been doing this for quite some time. Sometimes there's a little limited release, a small batch or something. They use maybe 1 or 2 sherry butts and add then 4 or 6 hogsheads and just put it together and say ta-da! And I think that's great because a single barrel is often, if it's a American standard barrel, an ex-bourbon barrel, 200 bottles. If it's a hogsheads, maybe 250. If it's a sherry butt, maybe 550 bottles, and that's it. But if you add 1 butt and 2 barrels, you're going to have then maybe 800 bottles. And that's exactly right for Germany, for example, or exactly right for France, or exactly right for Japan, or exactly right for whatever country you're going for to give that a exclusive. 1 single barrel would not be enough, but hey, putting the hogsheads and putting the Oloroso sherry butts together, it's magic. Now let's play a little game. Guess the distillery. Now if I was at Roy, I would go, hey, is it a Speysider? And of course I would win. It's a Secret Speyside from 2010. And my second guess would be, does it have an M in brackets beside it for Macallan? Now Jason, why do you say that? If we take a look at this bottle over here, you will see our Secret Speyside from Signatory Vintage, and behind it you have this so-called M in brackets. You see that? That means, at least in the secret world of the deciphering of labels in Scotland, it means Macallan. Ooh, Macallan, wow. So this has no M. So, now, we do know always Secret Orkney. There's just 2 distilleries at the moment that actually produce whiskey or bottle whiskey. It's not Scapa, therefore it's automatically default setting Highland Park. If it's a Secret Highland, it could be anything. If it's a Secret Speyside, it could be a lot of things. But I'm going to give a guess for 2 reasons. 1, it tastes like it, and 2, there are basically no independently bottled products from this distillery although they produce between 20 and 30% of all their production for blends. And I'm talking about Glenfarclas. Now, Glenfarclas is a big producer of single malt. They produce 2.5 million bottles a year of single malt. They have everything from 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 to 17 to 18 to 19 to 20 to 21 to 25 to 30 to 40, and that's still core range. It's a 40-year-old core range with Glenfarclas. Has it doubled in price and almost tripled in price? Yes, in the last 10 years, but still it's there. And you can always still, at least over in Germany, buy the little sample bottles from Glenfarclas of the 40-year-old, which I think is great. I remember a good friend of mine had a 400 euro bottle of the 40-year-old. Now it's over 1,000. And so I was able to try it at his house. I really loved it. It was great. It was a wonderful experience. I'm guessing that this is a Glenfarclas. All right, gonna nose it, gonna try it. Now I wish I had a bottle, which I don't, but I can just pull out a different bottle here, just as an example here. I think this is Glenfarclas. So I'm just going to put down the 12-year-old here. This is 13 years of age. This is 40%. This is 57.1. So I'm not even, I'm just I think it's Glenfarclas. I might be wrong. Now, what I would love to have instead is, and I don't have the bottle at the moment, is Glenfarclas 105. Glenfarclas 105 used to be, at least for me, and for a lot of people I know in Germany, the absolute highest proof and cheapest price whiskey with a good taste that there was ever in the world. And I'm not using that lightly, the word ever in the world. Where else could you get a 60% ABV single malt sherry matured for 1 liter for under 50 euros? No age stated. Yes, I know. There are age statements of the 105 out there, but they go up immediately in price. And that was under 50 euros. I've seen this bottle for under 40 euros. If this is Glenfarclas, if this is 57.1%, close enough for me to 60%, and if this has the sherry and a little bit of bourbon hogsheads going on in here for a price of 40 euros, it is cheaper. It is more of a bargain value whiskey than the King 105. That just shows how, I'm going to use this word, bloody cheap this whiskey is. Now, I've stopped complaining about how cheap 100 proof series is from Glenfarclas, from Signatory Vintage. I've stopped complaining about the rate of them pumping out the bottles 2 to 4 a month. This is, I think they hit the market Valentine's Day. We now have July. So March, April, May, June, July. In 5 months, there's been 16 different Signature Vintage 100 proof series. Another 3 of the exceptional. So there's been 19. So that's, in 5 months, 4, that's 1 a week. Tact. 1 a week. Now, what I've actually started recommending people is, hey, you know you like Signatory Vintage. Hey, I know you like this type of whiskey. It's going to be, for example, I like the Milton Dove. This has look at the colors. You can see the difference here, all right? Dark, dark, normal, dark, dark. All right, so if you like this dark sherry brew, let's call it that, just buy one. Don't drink it now. Don't open it. Just put it on your shelf. Now, for 44 euros, that's the recommended retail price in Germany, 44 euros 90. You can't go wrong. I see many shops down here, 42.90, 42.90, 40.90, 39.99. So 40 euros. Now, if you're going to buy here 16 different bottles for 40 euros, you're getting into some money here. Almost 700 euros since Valentine's Day just for 16 different products. Maybe you should still pick and choose. You don't need to have every one. So I was like, I don't need the Coilas. I don't need the Atmores. I don't need the sherry bombs. There's been one that was Coilas, second fill rum, won it. There's been this where it's like, oh, it sounds interesting. Pick and choose and just enjoy and just put them on the shelf and leave it there for a rainy day. The most of us are not going to go broke by buying the 100 proof for the future. I have no idea what plans they have. Are they going to be like the Signature Vintage 100 proof edition number 3421? How many editions are they going to put out? I mean, we have Abalawa Abuna. It just hit 82, I think. Are they going to go up to 100? 200? 300? So I know I stopped numbering my videos. I hit 1,000. And I was like, oh, I got video number 1, video number 200, video number 600. I hit 1,000. It's just like, okay, I'm going to stop. I have thousands of videos online, and I just, who cares about the number? Google doesn't care about the number. You don't care about the number. I don't care about the number. Ralphie hit the number. He's still doing it. He cares, which is okay. That's fine. You can care. but it's just like after you hit the 1,000, just leave off the numbers there. But hey, some people want to catalog. Some people want to be able to go back to, oh, back in whiskey review number 644, I said. And in whiskey review 1644, I said that. 1,000 videos later. All right, so on the nose, I get the Glenfarclas moment. Now, the interesting thing about Glenfarclas is, if that's Glenfarclas, I'm not saying it is, I'm just assuming, I'm just guessing. They usually at distillery, when they distill, it comes off distill 80%. Okay, that's the 4 shots, going down to about 72% often. That's when the heart starts. And then usually around 62% cut. And so you have that middle, that heart of the cuts, about 10 percentage points. 72 down to 62, and then we stop, and everything else after that are tails. Heads, tails, hearts. Now, what Glenfarclas does is they do start at 72%. They don't stop at 62. They don't stop at 60%, like most distilleries stop at 60. They go down to 58. All right, so they have a lot more of the tails going into those heavy sherry butts and hogsheads, and they're planning on maturing it for 10, 20, maybe even sometimes 30 years. And that's exactly what you need. You need a heavy new make with a lot of body and character, like a Glendronach. Also, the Glenfarclas has that to deal with the sherry. A lot of the new whiskies, nickname, Rase, and I could pick up a few others here, Kingsbarn and whatever else, they actually have a much smaller cut. So they don't start at 72, they might just start at 70 and go down to 64, and that's the heart. That's all they use. The heads and the tails go back into the spirit receiver, get redistilled again and again and again, and that just is okay for the single malt Scotch whiskey industry. And that is a very light spirit, and that can be bottled after 4 years, after 5 years, after 6 years. Nick Need runs. They're still for their normal everyday whiskey that they're going to put out in the 4 to 8 year range, and they have a certain period of the year where they run their stills differently for product that's going to be 10 plus years. And that's just not them alone. All the distilleries, Jim Swan, consulted and helped do exactly the same thing. Now, my question of the day is, if this isn't Glenfarclas, what is it? And the second question I'm going to add here is, what other Speyside distilleries do you know that are bottled as a secret Speyside? Yeah, Secret Orkney, Highland Park. Secret Speyside could be with an M on Macallan, or it could be a Glenfarclas. What other distilleries do not allow their names to normally be used on independently bottled products like Signatory Vintage, like Gordon MacPhail, like, I just forgot one important one. I don't remember. So, cheers. It's meaty. It's good. It's got too much heat for me at the beginning. Put some water in it. Take it from its abnormal 57.1%. Take it down to 50%. Try again. And enjoy. The same thing if you buy a Glenfarclas 105. Try it. Bring it down to 50%. And then work your way up. What I used to do is like, oh, that's too hot, and then I'd bring it down. If I drank that over the evening, I could get up to 60%. But it's just like, okay, my tongue was burning. Now I got there. You had to adapt. You had to get used to it. And that is a big piece of change, that 60% ABV in the 105. But hey, imperial proof, right? So 100, 57.1, 105, 100. So it's 60% ABV. What other distilleries do you know from the Speyside, or even Highlands for that matter, that have secrets? Secret blah blah blah. Secret distillery. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and telling others. I think it's a Glenfarclas, therefore that bottle's here. Otherwise, who knows? Bye-bye.